Hello friends and gamers, and welcome back to the Fortress. It is turn 7, July 1939, and Germany has declared war on much of Europe, on Poland, Belgium, France, and Britain. It's been interesting. It's been an interesting turn. The German army under Manstein have blitzed through Belgium from Bavaria and arrived in Paris on their second lightning war strike. After 3 rounds of combat, or what would have been 3 rounds if it had been done slightly better and was later done correctly. So 3 rounds of combat, the German forces were victorious. Manstein rode on his tank through the Arc de Triomphe. Our statisticians were predicting that only 1 or 2 German panzer tanks would survive. They survived with 3. It was an unknown amount of Luftwaffe was supposed to survive as well, and they survived with all of them barring the one the French fighter shot down. Now, that was impactful in the battle, which allowed the extra medium tank to survive. So the French forces blamed their anti-aircraft crewmen for being such bad shots. In Poland, Gunther von Kluge was less successful and only managed to invade as far as West Poland, leaving Poland still surviving. Now, the German U-boats have been a menace to the Atlantic and raided British treasuries for 15 IPP, the maximum that they had at the time. With the fall of France, much of French colonies, barring one tiny section, became Vichy-controlled. Of course, southern France became most of Africa, except for one IPP up in Morocco. These territories here, as well as these territories in Indochina, flipped to become Japanese. Now, the French also did something considered controversial by the community by declaring war on Iran. Now, I think it's a perfectly legitimate turn. We had a talk about this at the start of the game, and all 3 of us came to the consensus, Panzer King, Hilltop Pillbox, and I, that the developers had fixed this rule sufficiently to be used if needed. So therefore, I felt no guilt in doing it, and they can back me up by saying, well, it was exchange in text where we debated on it, and I said, let's not do any dirty strategy tricks. And they said, well, you know, that one specifically you mentioned is actually doable because the USA income would go down by 8, and so they considered it fixed. After having a look at it, I agreed with them because I think it does fix it decently well. Now, in this circumstance, what it does is it dropped the American income down by 8 IPPs, and it also gave the German forces a lot of money. So 1, 2, 3, and this would have automatically flipped. So 4, 5, and then a wartime bonus, 6, 7, 8, 9. $9 of continuous German income for a continuous loss to the American income by 8. At the time when he was doing his attacks, I told Panzer King, if this was successful, then I would declare war on Iran. If this was successful for the Axis, I would declare war on Iran, because knowing that if this was successful, this would flip to become Axis, and at that point it was only a minor loss to add these 2 to the fray. It kept $10 out of the German forces, and it allows us to block off Timoshenko's USSR army from marching down south. And I agree with my decision, and the British Parliament agrees as well, because their esteemed Secretary of the Politburo, Hilltop Pillbox, declared that he had intentions on moving down to Iran. So I am glad we went ahead with that operation. So now it is just a matter of cleaning it up. So in other parts of the globe, there has been some action on this front, but this one doesn't really matter to us too much. But what is of note is Mongolia has fallen to the communists. So we see a general trend across the globe of communization. The socialist republics are taking over. Up in the north of Mongolia, over here, of course, and in China, where they are just breeding like, well, red rabbits, let's say it that way. And we are glad in that circumstance that we blocked them over here. That forces them to go in other pathways to find their comrades to join the Soviet republics. All right, I think that's a fair roundup of it. I don't want to take too long in this, and it's already has been 5 minutes. So, excellent. Let's go over to the economic table. The economic table teaches me that I need to actually invest in chips, poker chips, instead of this. So I may need to borrow my brother's chips or buy some online. Unfortunately, real money is tight, just like with Great Britain. Great Britain has 0 in the treasury. But it does have a research roll, which we'll roll for later. The Far East Command is purchasing 2 militia and 1 anti-aircraft. The Anzac, due to the fact they only have 1 minor factory, are purchasing cavalry for France with money left over, 3 IPPs left over. Canada, though it has a major factory, lacks the funds and is purchasing infantry for the Netherlands and a marine for the KMT, as well doing a research roll for the anti-submarine warfare. So let's go ahead and roll for our techs, shall we? So both of these have to succeed at 11, and so we are rolling first for the wartime economy. 5, failure. And anti-submarine warfare, success. So at least we got anti-submarine warfare, which is a 7. So I shall bump that up right now. I feel like I have disproportionately less luck than my opponents, but that could be just biasm. Let's move back to the board and start with our sequences. Now, seeing as the Germans started off with their first land attack against this position, I thought it'd be fair to do the same. But because there's so many combats all over the map happening this turn, I want to pause it here now, set it up for combat, and then we'll unpause it, and then I'll go over quickly where everything came from, and then that way it'll be clear to all my opponents as to what I'm doing. There, I've set up the map with all my attacks. So these orange markers represent how much movement these aircraft have left. So I don't have those yellow chips representing the fuel gauge chips as they can be called. So let's explain where everything came from. This transport came from Sea Zone 87 and picked up 2 infantry from Calcutta and is landing in southern Iran. The medium bomber came from Egypt, and so that means it has a range of 1, 2, 3, with 2 left on the clock. Now in Iraq, we're having an airborne, and these 2 units, the strategic bomber and air transport, is coming from Gibraltar. They have a range of 6, so that means 1, 2, 3, 4, with 2 left on the clock. Montgomery is leading that attack, and hopefully he succeeds. It is a risky one. I know Montgomery was kind of risk averse, but nonetheless, he's leading the attack. It's for glory anyways. This attack here, this tactical bomber is also coming from Gibraltar with 1 left on the clock. And it is, the Canadians are sending up a transport with 1 Anzac artillery, and the Princess Pat's, the Canadian group, is coming in to land in Syria. Hopefully they also survive 1 round. Okay, this fighter came from this sea zone, so it's got still 3 left on the clock and is just essentially going out there to wipe out that transport. In this sea zone, we have 1 fighter is coming here and wiping out, attempting maritime air patrolling here, so it's still got a range of 1 to retreat to, move away. And it's got, it's going after the sub, so it rolls out a 6 there. Now, there is a battle occurring up here against only the German battleship and the German destroyer. That is represented by this fleet here. So this fleet in its entirety came from Sea Zone 81 off the coast of Egypt, as well as 2 ships, the Anzac ships from Sea Zone 83. 3 battleships, 1 battlecruiser, 3 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, 3 destroyers, 1 submarine from Sea Zone 52, as well as these 2 ships from Sea Zone 83. That is that attack. Next up, we have an attack here in the western approaches. It is our fighter that was sitting in this position is only coming here. So again, I suppose it is only on maritime air patrol, so it only has a range of 1 left. Somerville, Admiral Somerville, is coming to Sea Zone 25 with 2 heavy cruisers, 2 destroyers, 1 torpedo boat destroyer, a light carrier, which I know it can't move in combat. It would move in non-combat, but regardless, I'm moving it there for now because this Polish fighter is joining them from Warsaw. It can make the range. It's got 4 distance to get there, so it succeeds in getting here. Up here we have this submarine coming from Sea Zone 23 and this fighter coming from London, so it's coming to that position. Last combat move we have is a cavalry from, I already moved this one, preemptively moved it. A cavalry coming from Warsaw is swooping down south into Slovakia, picking up that for $1. $1 worth. Of course it'll probably die immediately, but you know, with 1 turn, who knows? It might, who knows? We might cause a casualty on the enemy. One can hope. So let's go back to this side of things and work our way in the same pattern westwards. So this is our first combat. Now I don't have a fancy setup like Panzer King, and so I just will have to kind of, my son keeps stealing my dice. So I don't even have that many dice. So we'll have to go back and forth several times to get it all sorted out. So anyways, let's go to the combat table. So again, as you saw there, it was, oh, let me just zoom you back here. So that's 1 medium bomber and 2 infantry, amphibiously landing, so they'll be rolling at 1, and 1 defensive unit at 4. So mountain terrain means it's pretty rough. So that's going to be 1 at 7, 1 at 2 at 1, and the defense is going to be at 4. So I'm going to roll all that here now, and we'll go with that. So keep in mind, black is for the, yeah. Okay, so the black succeeds, and yeah, either way, I can't remember now. I should have left it out there. But yeah, the battle succeeds for the fighter. The unit is wiped out. Okay, so that takes care of that one. Southern Iran becomes British at this point. So I'm going to just flip that over for now, and later on I'll grab those tokens. Okay, next is Iraq. So Iraq, we have 3 dice at 2 and 1 dice at 3. That's what this one is. And then we have 1 defensive unit at 4. So let's zoom back here. And this time I'm going to do this a little bit differently because I already forgot immediately after I rolled. So that's 3 dice at 2, 1 dice at... I know I had the previous one right, but it's just black and white confused me on that one. So the defense is going to be white at 4, and the attack for the infantry is going to be at that. So I'm going to just go... White will always be the defensive one. I'll just remember it by doing this, similar to Panzer King. So white is the defensive unit. I've got to remember that. Here we go. No hits for, oh no, that's a 1. So this has a 12 there, and that's a 1. So this comes from America expansion, and yeah, so that was a success, and we captured Iraq. And if you question it, just look at the American expansion by Historical Board Gaming. They make these dice with the 1 on that side for target selection, and then 12 for that. So we succeeded in Iraq. So excellent thus far. Montgomery is successful, and these units, let's just go like that and flip them over for now, just to represent that fight is done. Later on, I'll clean this up. Now, this one here with Auchinlecht. Well, I don't know if he is risk averse or not. Regardless, so in the first round of combat, this Princess Pat is going to go on board. This will have a first strike at 3, this will have a defense of 4, and this will be attacking at 7. So this one could actually be quite costly to us. So let's quickly set up the battle board. I always have... New Zealand guys are getting stuck underneath me. So that is going to be... We'll go like this. This will be the first strike, artillery for defense. This will be the land unit defending. This will be the tactical bomber, is going to be up here at 7. And then we have our Princess Pats at 2. So because it's the first strike, let's roll the first strike first. Alright, that will be this one. And they need to succeed at a 3. And they succeed at a 1. So Syria, under Rommel, manages to defeat that attack. So our Princess Pats, the beloved Canadians, are wiped out. But I believe I still get a roll for these guys here, the aircraft. 4, so that's a hit. And also the defensive infantry get a roll too. 5. So we get 1 hit from our tactical bomber, and they wiped out with our first strike, they wiped out the infantry. Now, I could get this wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right in how this works. So I'm assuming they're going to want to take out their artillery, but I'm sure, it's honestly like 1 a.m. right now. I'm not going to bother Panzer King about this. He'll let me know what survives in the comments or in person later on. I don't want to trouble him at this point. The Pats are gone, unfortunately. The Anzac artillery survives, and this unit survives as well. And Syria lives to fight another day. But at least we picked up the 2 territories worth income. This one here, and this one in southern Iran. So Iraq and Iran, not bad at all. Okay, this transport gets wiped off the board. I'm going to actually remove these German units while I'm at it. And next we move on to our next combat. So again, I've spoken with Panzer King, and he says that he wants all of his submarines to submerge. And regardless, they can't even make any hits against aircraft anyway. So it's going to be 1D at 6, and only 1 shot at this. So I think we got good odds. Come on, dice! 1, success. So we've sunk that fighter. Man, so far so good. I'm really happy with how these are going. 1 fighter gone. Take that, Germany! Not fighter, 1 submarine gone. Take that, Germany. And now we have this other one on the western approaches in C-Zone 24. So 1 fighter versus 1 sub. Well, the sub doesn't roll, just the aircraft. So again, 1 at 6. Failure on that one. So unfortunately, that's a pretty valuable one to defend, and I kind of need that one to survive. Well, I needed that one to be sunk, but nonetheless, oh, whatever. That's the way she goes. Next battle up is going to be under Admiral Somerville. I suppose Eric Radar could have joined that battle too as the Admiral, but we didn't want him. You know what? Eric Radar is coming there as well, just for the thematic elements. He can escape in a lifeboat if need be. Okay, so we're going to engage him with 2 dice at 6, 2 dice at 4, 1 dice at 2, plus another dice at 6. And he has 1 dice at 6. So this one's almost a guaranteed success, but let's just see. So that's, again, 1, 2, 3 dice at 6, 1 for fighter, 2 for heavy cruisers. Yeah, 2 for heavy cruisers. Where are they at? Here they are. And he gets 1 coastal defense ship at 5. And then I have 2 destroyers at 4. And then 1 unit at 2. 1 torpedo boat destroyer at 2. So let's see if we can beat him down. Okay. So I'm going to roll for these 6s, both defense as well as the attack. And I have 2 on the attack. Now, I don't need to go further. He missed on his defensive roll. The whites were representing the defense, and they have been thus far. So that ship is gone. Okay. I hope you guys accept that. I know I did state it in the video. Pretty sure I did state it in the video. So this ship is gone. Okay, so far, so successful. And Eric Radar escapes via lifeboat to back into the Baltic Sea. Now, over here, we have 1 submarine and 1 fighter at 6. So that's 1 at 3, first strike, 1 at 6, and his light cruiser gets a roll at 4. Okay, so, again, defense is going to be, oh no, sorry, light cruiser's at 5. Defense is going to be always white in this case. So I have 1 fighter at 6 and 1 submarine at 3 doing first strike. So let's do it that way. So again, remember, remember fighters. Yeah, okay, I think we'll all remember. If not, I'll just rewind this and double check. So first strike, 11. So that's 2 1s. I'm not successful. Okay, now we have this one. Miss for light cruiser, miss for the other one. Okay, round 2. First strike. Oh, it was almost a 1. 6, but that missed. And now, here we go. 4 and 6, so they mutually sunk each other, or they destroyed each other. So I am going to take out as casualty the light cruiser. Oh, I forgot the one in against the battleship. So the light cruiser goes down, and they manage to spot the submarine, and they take that one out too. And that is it for that one. I forgot to put a marker on that plane. But it's got 1, 2, it's got 3 moves left. Not that it matters, it's not going far after that. Okay, so that is that. Now, again, there's just a simple walk-on over here. And now for the big-isher battle. So that's a battleship at, 8? And a destroyer at 4. And I'm going to just carry my task force thinger, whatever, plate. Tablet, there we go, I'm going to bring it here. So for the defense, they have 1 at 8, I believe, for a battleship. Defense, defense is at 8. And then I have 3 at 8. And then he has 1 destroyer at 4. I'm going to use this dice here at 4. And honestly, I need more colored dice. I don't know. I had some around here before, but like I said, my little boy took him around. Bless his heart, bless his heart. Okay, so I'll just have to roll the other ones a little bit later on. But I suppose I can throw in the heavy carriers. 1, 2, 3. And I still have to roll for the... battle cruiser, the 2 light ones, but I'm out of color dice. So let's start with the battleships. And we'll just go in order with that, I suppose. Battleships. So he gets a hit, and I get 3 hits. So... yeah, that's not too bad. I'm happy with that result. So 3 hits against his 2 means that I'm going to simply damage 1 battleship, which may make my Italian opponent eyes sparkle. So in my excitement for all the battleships succeeding in their rolls, I forgot to roll for the German destroyer. So I'm going to roll for that now. It succeeds at a 4 or less. 6. So unfortunately did not succeed. So just the 1 hit by the battleship. But nonetheless, I'm happy with what that occurred in that situation. These 2 ships are gone, and we sunk something worth sinking. Okay, that is it for combat. I'm going to get things cleaned up. Actually, you know what? I don't think I even need to clean up too much because I already know where everything goes. Okay, I have it all written down too, so that is a really nice bonus. Yeah, okay, let's start our non-combat then. So this medium bomber has got 2 spaces left. It goes to Transjordan. These two also have 2 spaces left, and they move across to Eastern Egypt. Over there. So I'm going to remove these. Boom, boom, boom. And he stays there. Now, again, Panzer King, you got to let me know if you want the artillery gone or the infantry gone. I could see you wanting it either way. And this thing goes down to assist in Transjordan. This fighter has 3 left. It goes 1, 2, 3, lands in Gibraltar. I'm going to move this infantry up here in non-combat. Actually, I should do all the non-combat in this section of the world for right now. Anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to move this transport from this position. It's going to come 1. Yeah, it's going to go there. And we're going to pack up 2 infantry to that position. 2 infantry from Western Egypt are being dropped off from here, up in the, what's that called? Elat. Elat, right there. That's the plan. And I'm moving the rest of this infantry stack back into here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to send 1 via rail to that position as well. So that means they all go. There's 3 infantry there, and 1 of the Queen's Own rifles are present there. Now, that's from this transport and a railing up there as well. Now, I still have a few units over here to move. So these units, this one here, the Anzac, is going to go all the way to the Bay of Bengal. Down there. It can go strategic naval move that distance, I should state. In fact, yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Strategic naval move to that position. Okay, and next up we're going to move these. This transport is going to go, these 2 transports are going to join this fleet over here. Non-combat to that position. Then I'm going to move these 3 units, and they're going to go all the way to C-Zone 32. Now 32 is up there, right here. But before we get too far, I still need to zoom down here and move this plane back from Maritime Air Patrol to this position. Yeah, to that position. This stays there. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Yeah, that stays there on escort duty. Up here, we got some more activities going on. I need a place to park this thing. There we go. You should see what I'm using as a stand. You will laugh. Oops, my big fat fingers. My wife bought me an easel a few years ago, and I have a book to keep it balanced. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. The high-tech department, right? Yeah. Okay, next we have these 2 units are coming down south to this position. And we're moving the Canadians from Ottawa, their fighter. They're landing on that carrier. They got the range. It needs 1, 2, 3. They would have sufficient for 1 more move if needed. So there's that. This aircraft is simply landing here, and this aircraft is landing here as well. So that takes care of all this stuff. Okay, what else do we have to move? I think, yeah, just one more thing over here, and then I need to pause to consider a few things. But this infantry is moving up to this position, vacating East Poland. I debated which one I should occupy, if I wanted to challenge the Russians or if I wanted to challenge the Germans, so I thought I moved them to Warsaw at least. That way, hopefully, Panzer King remembers to do the river penalty this turn, going into here, and then hopefully I might make some success in that defense of that. At least take off 1 or 2 casualties under Władysław Sikorsky, or Sikorsky, I suppose is the way you pronounce that. Prominent general of the time. Okay, let me pause this real quick and let me think about things. Okay, I had a think, and honestly, yeah, that's it. I can't think of anything else I would do. So I also took the opportunity to bump up the income for Britain by 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 5 for capturing Slovakia. So we are up. Let me flip this token. Boom, boom. And Slovakia is liberated. Woohoo! All right. So that is 5 for that there. Okay, so my current income as Britain is $28, matching the Japanese. So yeah, that's where we sit with that. We have a few units present on the board. some fleet there, some in the Atlantic. If we, in Sea Zone 25. If you guys need clarification as to what's where, let me know. We have this in Sea Zone 53, tempting the Italians to attack if need be. What else do we got? We got those control there. Nothing here is moving. Sorry, one last thing to move. I forgot about these guys. But this, oh yeah, actually there's a few things. So this goes 1, 2, 3 to that sea zone. And then we have this submarine, which I think is going to stay in that position. Yeah, we'll stay in that position. So that is all it. Okay, that's it for everybody. Let's go to the collect income phase. I shall rip you across to here. Oh, right, still place unit phase. So let me do that quick. So back to here. So the Anzac. Well, no, let's do the Far East Command since they're slightly easier. Now, the Far East Command is going to produce, well, one anti-aircraft here, and it's got two militia to spend to put on the map. So we're going to place the 2 militia in, where should we put them? We're going to do 1 in each area. So one in this area and 1 over here, I think. Now, I know they could attack Burma, but you know what? If they attack Burma, that means American income goes up by 5e12, and I honestly don't think they'll do it. I mean, now that I said it, they might do it, but for the most part, you know. That's what that plan is. Next up, we have... well, the Canadians send their KMT Marine, and it lands here. Now, there is a port right here, and Japan is not at war with Canada. So unless they declare war right this second, then it arrives there. And of course, Panzer King, if you do so, let me know so I know what to do. The Anzac, so they produce this cavalry for France. Now, the cavalry for France is going to come all the way. Now, in the rules, it says France, once it surrenders, sets up a new base somewhere on the map in any one of its territories. So after... Oh yeah, and I should state also, it receives Lend-Lease at its new capital. Now, it doesn't say it has to be, the capital has to be at a port to receive Lend-Lease. It doesn't say any restrictions like that. It says it receives Lend-Lease at its new capital. But I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means they can receive Lend-Lease in a place without a port. So I have 2 options for a capital. And commentators, please let me know which, if I can do it, this. If I made the capital here, can I receive this Lend-Lease here? There's no interdiction that's going to happen coming through this area. The Italians are at peace. I can go around through the South Cape and slip along this sea zone because in sea zone 109 is where that submarine is, so I can go all the way there. Now, I would only do that if I declare this as the capital, and that means I can receive Lend-Lease there regardless if there's a port. But if it needs to have a port, then the port is going to be placed, then I'm going to be placing this unit here in Mauritania. That's my option number 2. So let me know. I suspect I can't receive Lend-Lease at the major at my capital. It still has to follow like supply rules and stuff. So let me know. Okay. The Canadians also sent Lend-Lease to the Netherlands, so they receive 1 infantry here. They are now sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 infantry and 2 militia. So they are not too badly looking. I mean, they're not going to survive against the German onslaught, but you know, they're definitely going to put a dent in it and cause them to divert sufficient forces in that direction. What's up next? I think that's it. So let's go to the economic table now and collect our income. So I've pre-calculated some of these things. So this is all spent, this is all spent, and this is all spent. Okay, so that means the FEC collects $16. That's because they get they get $14, but plus their wartime income. The Anzac, they had $3 left over, and they collect, what is it, $6, $7, $7. I guess $7. But they get also their wartime bonus, which should be actually a +1. So I have 8 here, so I need to give them an extra 1. So they're now sitting at, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. $12 here. The Canadians, they are at $6 that they gain. And so with $6 plus they get a bonus for being connecting by a major factory to the Alberta Prairies or Alberta, Saskatchewan. So that's $7. So $7 there. Now Britain is the big one. Britain collects 28, but they also collect a few bonuses. So with 28, let's see. Now, of course, much of this is going to just disappear the next turn by the U-boat campaign, but you know, it's $28. Who knows? They might not get it all. Okay, we possess the Suez Canal, so that gives us $3. We possess Iran. Iran is neutral or possessed by Great Britain. That gives us an extra $5. So we are at 28 plus 5 leaves us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 33. $33 for them. Not too shabby. And something we could do something with them next turn. Okay, stay tuned for the French turn, which will be coming up shortly. The Netherlands are next. So for the Netherlands, we need to do a recruitment roll, and we need to succeed at a roll of 3 or less. So here's the dice tray. 2. 2, 2, 2. That's awesome. So we get 2 militia in that area, bringing us up to a total of 4 militia. And what is it? 5 infantry? 4 militia and 5 infantry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4 militia and 5 infantry. So that is awesome. Awesome, awesome, possum. Okay. That's not quite on the map, but you get the idea. 4 militia and 5 infantry. Great. Okay, stay tuned for the French turn.
Chaque année à Paris, les gens de tous les pays viennent, reviennent.
The French turn. Now, what do the French do? Oh, am I looking at the right spot? Nope. France does not exist there anymore. France exists. Well, I'm not going to show you just yet. Let me organize the chits. I keep moving it around. France exists here. Now again, well, I'm assuming the capital is going to be here. If it's here in Morocco, I'm simply going to go across to North Algeria with that cavalry, capture North Algeria. If you know what I mean, if the capital is here and I could receive lend-lease at the capital regardless if there's a port, then I place this here and I simply go across to North Algeria. If not, then it's here in Mauritania, and I go 1, 2, and capture Niger from the Vichy, and flip it to becoming Free French. Woohoo! That's a start, isn't it? Awesome. Oh yeah, and I suppose I moved this too soon, but this French fleet goes from Sea Zone 81 and goes up to Sea Zone 49. I moved it too soon. Sorry about that. And these French subs stay in position. And that is it, people. Thank you all for watching, and check out Panzer King's channel next. It will be, what is it now, 7.5. Cheers all. France has an income of $1, and so that means they have $1 in the treasury.